Hello guys, we need now to perform the configuration of iSCSI and we need to understand all of these. And even before that, what we try to do here, we try to create again iSCSI driver on our NAS, and then I want both server 1 and server 2 to access to the same driver iSCSI, and then we can establish the failover cluster. Then we create a service of failover cluster to install a SQL Server on both nodes. This is the technique which we'll try to do. Now with the iSCSI initiator in here, we have a few things. Start with the initiator, and the initiator is the device which you will allow it, or the client which you will allow it to access to this iSCSI pool and then access to the driver. Now how can I access from one server to this NAS? I need now to access to Server Manager, and from Server Manager, from Tools, here by default you already have this software which is iSCSI Initiator. When you click on it for the first time, the system is going to ask you if you want for this software now to keep running all the time even when the device is restarted, and your answer should be okay. And then you will get this screen. And this screen now in Discovery, as you see, because I had tried that before, the system automatically discover now 192.168.230 and also discover the name of the device which is going to be used, on which port is going to work. But for the first time you might not have like the values in here because you won't have anything. Here I just like spend some good time and then my system discover the pool. For you maybe in the target here you need to provide the name of the server or the IP address. Try to quick connect and then we'll try to see if you can detect it down there. Then you can access to disk management and check if a new iSCSI driver is being added to your disk list. We need anyway to do the configuration of iSCSI. We need to do the configuration of iSCSI storage also. Then we will be able to access from server 2 and server 1 to iSCSI drivers. Now with the initiator, currently I don't have any device to be allowed to access, so I need to click on add. And in add by default initiator, everyone will be allowed. Authorized network, all networks are allowed, and here I can add comment. Or if I want like to improve the security, then it's better to specify the devices which I want them to access. So if I click just on this question mark, tells you use all keywords or a list of initiator host name separated by spaces. With authorized network, here it tells you network addresses that can use the initiator, use all or list network addresses with a CIDR mask, which is /24, /16. And here you have an example like 192.168.20 /24s, which means 255.255.255 network. So to me, yes, I have two devices, and my devices who I want them to access is 192.168, not 011 or 010. This is wrong because remember, the devices will access to our NAS through this switch, which is supporting the subnet of 2.0. So I need to use 2.10 and 2.11. So here 2.10, and yes, the subnet mask is 24, and the other device 192.168.2.11, and the subnet mask also is 24. Now with the initiator, which allow here use all keywords or a list of initiator host names separated by spaces, I don't need now to provide a name. And remember anyway, this device is not connected to the Active Directory, so it's going to use the IP addresses for connectivity issues. Save. And here now the first tab, which is initiator, is set. Of course later you can set even more, because you might have even more drivers for different failover clustering, not only for the SQL, which we'll try to do it here. So you can add even more and more initiators. Now the next step after that, which we won't be able to do it right away, but we need to talk about the targets. The target in here, even if I click on add for now, I don't have here much that I can add. See, there is none. And I don't have anything to be added except the initiator group. Number one, because the initiator group I already been created. authentication method. Here you have CHAP and mutual CHAP. And initiator group is in there because I already created this group, as you see. So that's why in the target, I can specify the initiator group. The target now is a storage resource on the storage server, which is in our case is this NAS. So every target have a unique name called IQN, which is ISCSI qualified name. So on this target, I need now to say which initiator group will be allowed to access to which ISCSI qualified name target. But currently we need to build first the target, and then we will be able to link the initiator to the target. We have internet storage name ISNS, which is a protocol for the authorized discovery of ISCSI device on a TCP/IP network. And you can access to that through target global configuration. Here you have your ISNS server. And here if you take a look, enter the host or IP address of the ISNS server to be registered with the ISCSI target and portal of the system. Separate each entry with a space. I'm not going to use the name again because this device has not been joined to the domain. So the DNS in this situation is not going to work. The local or our own domain DNS. That's why I prefer to use the IP address, and the IP address here is 192.168.2.30, which is the IP address of the NAS. The base name for it, here it is freenas.ctl is fine. Pool a variable, let us check this one. Enter the percentage of a free space to remain in the pool. When this percentage is reached, the system issued an alert, but only if Z volumes, this is the type of volumes that are going to be created, used. So here, if you want now to make sure, maybe if only 10% left, then you want to get an alarm. And you can support that with the main event configuration because you can assign your email address and the system will automatically send email to you. I am done with target global configuration. It is being saved. Now the next step is extent. And extent is your storage unit to be shared. It can either be a file or a block device. Like in case of NAS, it is Z volume. This is how we call it. And again, currently I don't have any extent. If I click on add, if I check here extent name, on which device, it might be just a file. The device here is DA 30 gigabyte, which is my second hard disk. But we need to do some configuration before even access to this level. And remember now, the extent is your real ISCSI driver. The target is ISCSI pool. And the driver is supposed to be under the pool, and the pool will allow the initiator to access through it to the main device. So those three, they are going to work together. Now the other tab is portals, and with portals I need to configure the port this device is going to use to listen. So it's going to indicate which IP address and ports to listen on for connection request on storage device side, and this is the storage device side. And usually the port which is going to be used is a 3260. So we need to add. And here now tell me about if there is any comment. Discovery method, I will allow any discovery method. CHAP, mutual CHAP, so I'm not going to pick one of them. Discovery authentication group none. And here the IP address is 192.168.230. And the port, as you see by default, is a 3260. We need to save that. You can add extra portal IP if you want. So then you can assign another even port number for this device. Now the last piece of information is under associated targets. We have here this LUN ID, which is logical unit number, and this one representing logical SCSI device. So rather than mounting remote directories, initiators format and directly manage file systems on iSCSI LANs. This is the purpose of it, and we will see LANs once we have successfully the connection between our server and our iSCSI target here by using iSCSI initiator. Okay, to be able to continue now, we need to create our storage, and that's what we need to do in the next video. Thanks for watching.